It starts with a ping, a random message in the family group chat, one you usually mute, glance at, and forget. This one you reread it twice. Your brother Ryan drops a picture, a sunlit resort, umbrellas, cocktails, and the caption, "Can't wait. Counting down to paradise." You squint at it confused, no context, no explanation. Then your cousin replies, "OMG, looks amazing. So jealous, how many rooms did y'all book?" Your mom's response lands a few seconds later. "We got 4 suites, just enough space for everyone." Everyone. You scroll. Keep scrolling. Check dates. Read backwards through the thread to see if you somehow missed the invitation. You didn't. There isn't one. Not for you. Your name doesn't appear. Not in logistics. Not in who's riding with who. Not in the packing checklist your aunt copy-pasted like she's some kind of travel influencer. You stare at the message until the screen dims. Then you tap back in and type a simple, quiet question. "What trip?" Seen by everyone. No one replies for 5 full minutes. Then finally your mom types, "Oh honey, it was kind of last minute. We didn't think you'd be free. And there wasn't enough room." That sentence does something to you. Not because of what it says, but because of what it doesn't. You didn't think I'd be free. There wasn't enough room. Translation, you didn't ask. You didn't check. You didn't care. You set your phone down, get up from the couch, and pace in slow circles around your apartment. They booked a whole vacation. Together. As a family. Coordinated flights, accommodations, meals. It's been planned for weeks, maybe longer. And you got a shrug and a text after the fact. They didn't forget you. They excluded you. And the worst part is you're not even shocked. Because this isn't new. It's just finally obvious. You flash back to Christmas last year when your mom gave everyone matching robes and labeled mugs, and you got a Target gift card in a reused envelope. To your brother's wedding when you weren't even part of the bridal party but your cousin's fiancé was. To birthdays remembered 3 days late. To every. We assumed you were busy that somehow always translated to, "We didn't bother to ask." You sink back onto the couch trying to convince yourself it's not a big deal. But it is, because this was deliberate. You check the hotel's name from the photo Ryan posted. It's luxury, a little bougie, definitely out of their usual budget. Your dad must have cashed in those old airline points he always brags about. You visit the hotel site. Just looking, you tell yourself. You scan the homepage. Then your eyes land on a small footer link, investor inquiry. You click, not because you're planning anything, just because, why not? You shoot off a message, nothing aggressive, just curiosity. You've done well. Your business, once mocked by your family as your little project, has quietly doubled its revenue in the last 6 months. You've made strategic choices, smart ones, the kind people don't notice until it's too late. An hour later, you get a response. The hotel is in fact entertaining offers. It's a family-owned property, currently in transition looking for silent partners or outright buyers. You blink. That's when the idea roots itself not as revenge but as clarity. They didn't make room for you. Fine. Maybe it's time you make a space of your own. One they can't ignore? It's funny how fast a lifetime of tiny exclusions can add up. When they left you out of the trip, it wasn't the first time. It was just the first time they didn't even try to hide it. And that clarity, it hurts more than the lie would have. You lie in bed that night, scrolling through old messages and start seeing the pattern more clearly than ever. The missed calls, you were always the one to return. The way they only looped you into decisions when they needed money or tech help or someone to deal with the online stuff. The vacations for adults only you were never quite adult enough for. The dinner reservations that were just over capacity, always just short of room, always just shy of included. They made you believe for years that it was circumstantial, that it was your schedule, your city, your lifestyle, that you weren't easy to slot in. But now you know you were never considered, and still you want to forgive them. Isn't that strange? That even now, even after being written out like a footnote, some part of you still wants to rationalize it. Maybe they didn't mean it that way. Maybe it was just logistics. Maybe you're being dramatic, but you're not. Because this time they didn't forget to include you. They made sure not to. And what they didn't know, what they've never known, is that you've been building something while they've been underestimating you. You were always the quiet one, the weird one, the one who went to therapy and yoga retreats instead of doing something stable. They laughed when you launched your business, told you to keep your resume fresh just in case. They still call it your little startup. Even now, when it has 36 employees, global clients, and an office that takes up 2 whole floors downtown. They never asked about your milestones, but they sure love to mention that you're doing something with apps, right? You learn not to correct them. You learn to stop expecting understanding. But you never stop growing. You pick up your phone and reread the email from the hotel's investor liaison. They've confirmed a private viewing. Confidential, no pressure, but they're willing to discuss options. The meeting is in 2 days. Same weekend your family checks in for their just enough space for everyone vacation. You smile to yourself, not cruelly, not bitterly, just quietly, because for once you're not chasing their approval. You're just catching up to your own power. You pack a single bag, not because you're staying long, but because showing up prepared is a habit they never noticed you had. The drive to the hotel is smooth. You check in under a false name, discreet, not deceptive. You meet with the manager privately in a sunlit conference room. The paperwork is neat. The numbers are fair. You can afford it. Not just to buy in, to take ownership. Full. You don't rush the signature. You sit with the weight of it. The name of the hotel soon to be under your name feels like a reclamation. Not just of space, of value. They said there wasn't room for you. So now you own the building. And that weekend, while they sip cocktails and laugh by the pool, you'll be walking the halls. They don't even know. Belong to you, not to punish them. Just to remind yourself, you were never the problem. You were just the one they didn't expect to succeed without them. They weren't supposed to post about it. That was the agreement. A trip just for the core family. No drama, no feelings hurt. And yet, hours before they even land, Ryan is already uploading a selfie at the gate, captioned with a beach emoji and family first. You spot your mom in the background leaning into a laugh. Your dad's there too, holding a neck pillow like it's a prized possession. Your aunt and uncle are tagging along, and even your cousin Jenna, who said she couldn't get time off work, is visible grinning behind a pink Starbucks drink. You still not mentioned, still invisible. And that's when it clicks they didn't expect you to notice. Or worse, they didn't expect you to care. They think you've distanced yourself, that you're too busy, too cool, too into your company to want in on something as ordinary as a family vacation. They've convinced themselves that you are the one who pulled away. That's what hurts the most. Because deep down, you used to hope it was an oversight, a logistical slip-up. But now it's obvious. You weren't just excluded, you were rationalized out of the story. So you don't send a message. You don't reply in the chat. You don't try to wedge yourself into a plan you were never meant to see. You get dressed instead. The next day you arrive at the hotel before they do. It's just past noon when the car drops you off. The bellhop greets you like any other guest. But inside, you're no longer a guest. You're the owner. Technically, the deal finalizes Monday, but the signature is done. The contract is locked. The staff has already been notified quietly. You're not here to make a scene. You're here because this building, every room key, every reservation, every towel folded into a swan, now answers to you. The hotel manager gives you a discreet nod in the lobby. We'll have your suite prepared by 2 p.m., Mr. Var. You walk past the check-in desk with a calm sort of gravity. The front desk agent doesn't know who you are yet, but she will. You're not flaunting anything. That's not your style. You're here to observe, to breathe in the quiet satisfaction of knowing you no longer need a seat at their table. You've purchased the entire dining room. By 3:30 p.m., your family arrives. You watch them from the second floor lounge, hidden behind a lattice partition, iced tea in hand sunglasses shading your face like a celebrity hiding in plain sight. They're loud, of course. Ryan's arguing over whether their bags were handled properly. Your mom's asking about the spa schedule. Your dad fumbles with his phone trying to confirm the Wi-Fi password. And you just watch, calm, detached, amused even. The front desk greets them warmly, and you notice the small fumble. Your cousin's suite isn't quite ready. She's flustered. Your mother turns dramatic. There's a brief moment of chaos before the manager steps in. She handles it smoothly, offering complimentary drinks while the suite is being prepped. You recognize her script, you wrote it. That's when your mom glances around. You can tell she feels something. That sixth sense she always claimed to have when something was off. Her eyes skim the lounge, but move on too quickly. She doesn't see you. Of course she doesn't, because she's never looked for you in places she didn't expect you to be. You finish your tea and retreat to your suite before they're escorted to theirs. No confrontation. Not yet. You don't need drama to make a point. Sometimes silence is the sharpest reply. You wake the next morning to sunlight spilling through floor-to-ceiling windows and the sound of the ocean doing its slow, rhythmic breathing. Your suite is nothing like the ones they booked. Yours is at the very top, quiet, secluded, with a wraparound balcony and a private plunge pool. No shared walls, no towel shortages, no kids screaming in the hallway. Just airlight and space you were never offered when someone else held the keys. You drink your coffee, barefoot toes pressed to warm stone tile, watching a seagull glide along the coastline like it owns the sky. You've never felt more calm, or more dangerous, because beneath that stillness is a crackle. Not rage, not bitterness, just something sharper. Clean, focused. They think they're on vacation. They don't know they're inside a metaphor you built. At breakfast, you skip the main dining area and head to the small executive cafe behind the concierge desk. Staff only usually. But now you are staff. Or rather above it. Your name isn't on a name tag. It's on the purchase agreement. You nod to the general manager. She offers a respectful smile, then hands you an envelope. Financials as requested, she whispers. And the new suite numbers. Your family is in the coral wing. You slip the paper into your folder. You won't need it today, but it feels good to know. You head out to the boardwalk just in time to catch a flash of familiar voices rising above the shuffle of morning tourists. There they are, Mom in her wide brim hat, Dad with a paper cup of hotel coffee he's already complained about, Ryan arguing with Jenna over sunscreen. They look the same, like every holiday you were left out of, like every memory they made while assuming your absence wouldn't matter. But now you're not watching through a screen or hearing about it secondhand. You're here, and you're in control. You turn back before they notice you. You're not ready for the reveal yet. That part comes later when it means something. Today you let them enjoy their illusion. Let them believe they've planned the perfect family getaway. You spend your afternoon walking the halls with the general manager noting upgrades you'd like to implement. You ask about staff turnover, guest feedback, the seasonal trends. You're thorough, not petty, not performative. This hotel wasn't just a chess move, it's an investment. But yes, the timing was perfect. By early evening, you change into something casual but sharp, effortless. The kind of outfit that says, I belong here without having to raise your voice. You take a seat at the bar near the pool. The same bar where your family is gathered laughing over appetizers and rounds of margaritas. You watch as the bartender walks over and greets you with the same polished charm he gives to every guest, until he sees the special marker on your account, flashes a subtle nod, and brings you a drink without asking. The house specialty, a quiet sign of status. You raise your glass as Ryan passes by on his way to the bathroom. He pauses, does a double take. Wait, what the hell are you doing here? You take a slow sip, smile just enough. Vacation, you say. His eyes narrow, confused, skeptical. You didn't say you were coming. No one asked. That hits. You see it land in the crease between his brows. He walks off, phone already in hand. 30 seconds later, your mom is hovering. You brace gently. Well? She starts as if trying to sound pleased. This is a surprise. You raise an eyebrow. Is it? I just thought you were too busy with your tech thing. My company, you correct. And I'm never too busy for family. That sentence stops her cold. Because she knows. She knows what they did. But she's already flipping through her internal excuses, ready to explain how it was just timing, how it all came together so fast, how we figured you wouldn't want to be dragged along. You let her scramble. You don't interrupt. You don't offer relief, because for once, you're not the one doing the emotional labor. When she runs out of words, you give her nothing but a pleasant, unreadable smile. Don't worry, you say, there's plenty of room. You raise your glass again, to space, to silence, to ownership of buildings, of boundaries of your own damn narrative. The thing about power is it doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it just sits in the corner of a poolside bar, sipping slowly while everyone else flails for control. That night you dine alone, not because you're unwelcome, but because you choose to. The rooftop restaurant is quiet, the lighting dim and golden, the kind that flatters everything and reveals nothing. You take the corner booth, the one with the best view of the ocean and the slow, distant horizon. Halfway through your meal, the hotel's head chef comes out to introduce himself. He's heard you're the new owner. He sends a dessert on the house, plated like art. You thank him sincerely. You tip well. You don't need to make noise to make waves. Meanwhile, downstairs, your family has no idea. They're having buffet tacos and well drinks by the pool, all included in the family package they booked a month ago. They're loud and carefree, laughing in that way people do when they are too comfortable to imagine anything might shift beneath them. You don't interrupt. Not yet. The next morning you walk through the lobby just in time to catch the concierge telling your dad that the boat tour they requested is overbooked. He grumbles, of course. He always expects things to bend for him. The concierge is kind, apologetic, offers an upgraded experience at a different time slot. You could step in, make it smooth, but you don't. Because this is what it feels like to be on the outside of their needs for once. This is what it feels like when their expectations don't shape your behavior. You don't have to save them anymore. You just keep walking. The staff knows you now, not in a flashy way. Just in the way people notice someone who pays attention. You ask about their work. You remember their names. You don't pull rank, but they feel it anyway. Later, during a routine meeting with the general manager, she hands you a schedule update. There's been a room change, she says. Your brother requested a suite upgrade. We've arranged it. I assumed that was fine. You nod. Of course. Whatever keeps the guests happy. There's a flicker in her expression. A subtle knowing. You'd make a good hotelier, she says. You smile. I've had years of practice being overlooked. Makes you observant. She laughs gently and moves on. The afternoon sun melts into golden hour, and you decide it's time. You take the elevator down and walk the wide marble hall to the coral wing. The hallway smells like orchids and citrus and just the faintest trace of chlorine. You knock gently on the suite door where Ryan's staying. He opens it halfway, phone in hand, sunglasses pushed up like he's just back from being adored. He freezes when he sees you. Hey, got a minute? He glances back into the room. You hear your mom inside, a clatter of plates, laughter. Then he steps out, closing the door softly behind him. You walk a few steps together down the hall, then stop near the tall arched windows overlooking the courtyard. I wanted to tell you something, you say calmly, before someone else does. He crosses his arms. Okay. I own the hotel. Silence. It stretches just long enough to split something. He frowns, unsure if he heard you right. You... What? You look him in the eye. I bought it last week. Quietly. I'm the owner now. He laughs once. That awkward scrambling laugh he gives when his brain can't catch up to his ego. You're serious. You nod. Fully. There's another pause. Then his eyes narrow. Why didn't you say anything? You tilt your head. There wasn't enough room. That hits harder than you expect. You watch it land. Watch the mask crack just a little. I didn't, he starts then stops. You don't need him to finish. You don't need the apology. You just needed him to know. You smile. I hope you enjoy the rest of your stay, you say. You've got great taste in hotels. Then you walk away, slow and steady, while the wind rushes in through the open window, catching your breath and carrying it further than any explanation ever could. You expect whispers by morning, but your family doesn't say a word. Not in the group chat. Not through a knock on your door. Not even in passing glances across the buffet line. It's as if nothing happened. Which of course makes it even stranger, because something did. You didn't make a scene. You didn't film a dramatic reveal or throw down a monologue in the hotel lobby. You simply handed them the truth and let it sit. Now they don't know what to do with it. They're pretending you didn't say anything, like silence might preserve their version of the story just a little longer. You let them pretend. They still think you're the sibling who needs their validation, the one who's difficult, sensitive, icy even. What they don't realize is that your silence now isn't fear, it's control. You spend the day as if you're the only one here. Morning yoga on the beach, room service lunch on your balcony. A long, uninterrupted swim in the rooftop pool that no one else seems to know about. You live the vacation they didn't think you'd want, and meanwhile they stay clumped together like they always do, rotating between group activities and familiar patterns. Your mother trailing behind, reminding people to wear sunscreen. Your father with his folded crossword scanning for breakfast tables with good light. Ryan hogging the Bluetooth speaker. At dinner, you make a reservation at the same restaurant they chose just a half hour later. You arrive with quiet ease. The hostess greets you by name. Your mother sees you first, blinks like she's seen a ghost. You give a small nod and walk past. Nothing dramatic, no tension, just presence. You notice your father's fork. Pause midair. Ryan won't meet your eye. And for once you don't feel the need to break the silence for their comfort. You sit by the window, order a drink, and lean back in your chair. Let them squirm. You overhear your mom whispering low and rapid, "I had no idea they were doing that well." That word again, not you. They still speak about you like a separate thing. A puzzle they can't quite solve. Something to be admired from afar, but never invited too close. The meal is slow, indulgent, perfect. When you finish, you don't leave right away. You walk over to the hostess stand and casually ask for a schedule printout for the rest of the week. She hands it to you without question. Because this is your place. Your name is in the system. Your email is on every internal memo. Your photo is in the executive file marked owner. The irony is delicious. You don't need to announce it. You've already rearranged the whole story just by being here. Later that night, you find yourself walking the hotel grounds. Lanterns line the paths. The breeze is warm and sweet with salt. The stars are real, not city reflections. You follow the winding stone trail toward the overlook, passing quiet couples and sleepy families. And then you hear your name. Not hey, not wait. Just your name spoken with uncertainty. It's your mom. She's standing there in a hoodie that looks too clean to sleep in, and sandals she probably regrets bringing. Her arms are crossed, not defensively, just unsure what to do with them. You stop. "I didn't realize," she says, "that things were going so well for you." You nod, not coldly, not warmly, just enough. "I'm proud of you," she adds, like it's a secret. You want to believe her. Maybe part of you does. But the part that wanted to hear it years ago is quiet now. Too far gone to wake up just because she finally found the words. You meet her gaze. "I didn't do it for that." She nods. You both stand there for a moment in the half-light between what was and what never will be. She doesn't apologize. She doesn't explain. Maybe she can't. But she doesn't walk away either. You nod once slow. Then you keep walking down the path past the flickering lamps, past everything you outgrew without permission. And for the first time, your back doesn't feel exposed when you leave. It feels strong. They don't speak to you at breakfast. Not out of malice, but out of hesitation. Like you've become something they don't know how to engage with anymore. A shape they can't fold into the old puzzle. You arrive last. Your presence causing a ripple through their table. Your mother's hand pauses mid-pour over the coffee. Your dad gives a slow, almost imperceptible nod. Ryan doesn't look up from his phone. Jenna tries to act natural, but knocks over her orange juice in the process. You take your table across the terrace, not too far, not too close. Close enough to be undeniable, far enough to be untouchable. You're halfway through your espresso when the general manager approaches their table, professionally poised, asking if everything with their room upgrade is to their satisfaction. Your brother mumbles something about towels and Wi-Fi. Then she says it. "Of course. I'll make sure Mr. That's Us is updated on your feedback." There's a pause. The kind of silence that swallows a room whole. Your mother, wide-eyed, tilts her head. I'm sorry, mister." The manager blinks. Yes, the new owner. Her tone is effortless, neutral. She has no idea she just dropped a brick into a still pond. You don't turn to look. You just keep stirring your coffee like nothing happened. But you can feel it, the shift. Your brother's head lifts. Your father mutters something you can't hear, but his posture goes rigid. And you smile. Just slightly. The kind of smile that says there's no room left for pretending anymore. They know. The whole table knows. And for the first time in ever, you are the one with the seat no one else can fill. You finish your breakfast in peace. No drama, no discussion. You leave a generous tip and nod politely to the staff as you exit. You know they're watching your back as you walk away, but you don't stop. You let them sit in it. Let them gather their questions. Let them wrestle with the fact that you didn't just show up. You owned the place they booked, thinking you'd be nowhere near it. The rest of the day plays out like a slow unraveling. Your mother hovers around the concierge desk more than usual. Your dad suddenly has opinions about the landscaping. Ryan goes quieter, sticking closer to the room, and when you pass each other by the ice machine, he doesn't offer one of his usual side comments. He just nods, and you nod back, and that's enough. Because you can see it now, the weight of your presence has settled in. They don't know how to make sense of it. You were always the one they had to explain. The outlier, the free spirit, the maybe doing okay but who knows sibling. Now you are their logistical reality. The room key says guest, yours says owner. And still you haven't flaunted it. You haven't shouted or corrected or made them bow. You've done something much more unnerving. You've let them sit in the full echo of their own exclusion. They said there wasn't enough room. You gave them the whole resort, and now they don't know what to do with it. That evening you get a note slid under your door. Not a message, a receipt. Room service from your brother's suite. 2 entrees, drinks, and a bottle of overpriced wine. A sticky note attached reads, "Didn't realize you were covering all of this. Guess I owe you one." No name, just a crooked smiley face. You stare at it for a while, then fold the note in half and drop it in the trash. Because this was never about payment. It was about presence, and they can't afford what they lost when they assumed you had nothing to offer. You don't expect them to ask for a meeting, not directly, but on the 3rd morning there's a knock at your suite door. Soft, polite, hesitant. You already know who it is. You open it to find your mother standing there in a linen blouse she probably steamed twice before building the nerve to come here. Her face is careful, too careful. A smile pulled tight, a voice pitched just above apology. "I thought maybe we could talk." You gesture her inside, not because you're ready, but because you're not afraid anymore. She steps in like a stranger. Her eyes scan the space, subtle but telling. She's registering the upgrade, the ocean view, the complimentary champagne still chilling in a silver bucket in the corner. She's putting the pieces together, one breadcrumb at a time. You sit, she sits, and there's a long silence before she speaks. "We didn't mean to hurt you." It's the sentence people say when they don't want to admit that they did. You don't blink, you don't nod. She keeps going. "This trip, it all came together quickly. And with everyone's schedules and you being so busy with your company, we just assumed. You didn't ask." Your voice is calm, no edge, no bitterness. Just the truth, bare and blunt like a polished stone. She flinches gently. "No, we didn't." You let that land. She fidgets with the edge of a pillow. Looks up. "It's not that we don't care. Then why was it so easy to leave me out? You're not asking for a speech. You're not asking for tears. You're asking for an answer. One she's never had to give before. She doesn't have one now either. But she tries. You've always been independent. And sometimes it felt like you didn't want to be included. Like you had your own thing. Your own life. That's the story, isn't it? That your boundaries were permission slips. That your distance meant disinterest. That being self-sufficient meant you didn't need to be chosen. You stare out at the sea through the open glass doors. The wind lifts the curtain slightly. You speak without looking at her. "I wanted to be asked. Not needed, not depended on, just considered." The air between you settles. Heavy, real. "I didn't know," she says. "I know," you reply. She sighs. "I'm sorry." You finally look at her. She means it. You can tell. But sincerity doesn't erase patterns. It doesn't fill in the years of being sidelined, of birthdays skipped, of accomplishments shrugged off. And it doesn't make the last few days disappear. Still, it softens something. You nod once, small, enough to say I heard you. She stands to leave, pauses at the door. You really bought the hotel. You nod again. She laughs once, not mockingly, just disbelief. Of all the things. Then quieter it suits you. And she leaves. You exhale long and deep. It's not closure, but it's a shift. Later that day you get a message from Ryan. Just 3 words. You free tonight? You hesitate, then reply. Depends. He sends back dinner. Just us, no parents. You don't expect a transformation, but you're curious enough to show up. You meet him on the restaurant patio just after sunset. He's already nursing a beer, looking out at the waves like they've personally disappointed him. He doesn't make eye contact as you sit. I thought you hated this kind of place, he says. You smirk. Turns out I like it a lot better when I own it. He chuckles. A little too long, a little too loud, but it's a start. He sips, then sighs. You could have told us. You raise an eyebrow. Would you have believed me? His silence answers for him. You cut your steak slowly, thinking about all the times you downplayed your life so he wouldn't feel threatened. All the times you let him win. Be louder. Be first. You don't do that now. You eat, slowly, on your time. Halfway through the meal, he finally says it. We messed up, and that's enough. Not everything, but enough. You sleep in the next morning. No alarms, no meetings, no obligation to perform calmness while managing the quiet ache of being misunderstood. When you finally rise, the hotel is already stirring with movement, families shuffling toward breakfast, a wedding party rehearsing near the courtyard staff, prepping for the Sunday checkouts. And your family, still here, still orbiting around each other in that familiar gravitational pull of polite avoidance and overcompensation. But something has changed. You notice it in the way your mother looks at you when you walk through the lobby, not with concern, but curiosity. She's seeing you again, maybe for the first time in years, or maybe for the first time ever. Your father keeps his distance. Of course he does. Pride isn't a rope he knows how to climb down. And that's fine. You've stopped waiting for the kind of closeness that only exists in greeting card commercials. Ryan passes you by the elevator, offers a fist bump. Thanks for dinner, he mutters. You tap your knuckles against his anytime. And it's strange how easy it would be to gloat now, to wear your power like armor. But that's not what this was about. Not really. You didn't buy the hotel to prove something to them. You bought it to prove something to yourself. That you could exist fully, proudly, without begging for space. That you could stop trying to wedge yourself into places that only ever made room as a courtesy, not a commitment. You didn't come here to take revenge. You came to reclaim peace. The next day they check out one by one. Jenna first looking hungover and underwhelmed. Then your aunt and uncle mumbling compliments about the lovely decor without realizing you approved it. Your mother hugs you goodbye with a little too much intention in her grip, like she's trying to make up for 20 years in 3 seconds. She says, "We'll do better." You say, "I hope so." She nods. She knows better than to promise. Your dad mutters something that might be good luck, might be goodbye. You don't clarify. Ryan is the last one to leave. You meet him outside beside the waiting shuttle. He pulls his suitcase closer and rocks on his heels. "You gonna keep it?" he asks. "The hotel." He nods. You shrug. Maybe. Maybe I'll flip it. Or maybe I'll keep it and turn it into something that actually means something. He stares out toward the parking lot. You know Mom's been asking questions. About you, your company, what you do. She wants to know more. You raise an eyebrow, and I already know. That surprises you. Then he adds, "I knew the minute you didn't rub any of this in our faces. You didn't need to." That's what made it worse. You laugh genuinely, glad to be a living moral lesson. He smirks. "Well, next time you buy a hotel to prove a point, let me know. I want in." You pat his shoulder. "Don't forget you still owe me for that room service." He grins. "Send the invoice to Mom." You both laugh. Then the shuttle door closes and he's gone. The courtyard is quiet now. Just you and the rustle of palm leaves and the echo of what this week used to mean. You walk back inside and take the long hallway past the check-in desk, past the dining area, past the framed photograph of the old owner shaking hands with a celebrity you've never heard of. And when you reach the corner office, the one now labeled with your name on a tiny gold plaque, you open the door. And you sit, not as a guest, not as a forgotten sibling, but as the one who no longer needs to wait for a seat at their table. Because you've already built something better. Your suite feels different now. Not because anything's changed, the same linen sheets, the same polished glass balcony, the same humming minibar stocked with overpriced snacks you haven't touched. But the air is quieter, less expectant. The storm's passed, and all that's left now is the stillness of having said what needed to be said without ever raising your voice. You watch the sunrise from the edge of the balcony, bare feet on cool tile, a half-empty mug in hand. The sea stretches out in front of you like it always has, unbothered, unfolding. It reminds you of who you are now, unbothered, unfolding. You haven't spoken to your family since they left yesterday. No texts, no follow-up calls, just the residue of something that finally reached its natural ending. And that's the thing you never expected, that closure might not come with applause or apologies. That sometimes it arrives as a quiet, gentle breath. The realization that you no longer need to explain yourself to people who were never listening properly to begin with. You walk the hotel one last time that morning, your last inspection. The staff greets you warmly. You thank each of them by name. Not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because you remember what it's like to be overlooked. You won't run a place that forgets its people. You leave a note in the manager's office. Thank you for running this place with more grace than I arrived with. Keep doing it your way. You've got this. Then you gather your things. No fanfare. No drawn-out goodbyes. Just a keycard slipped into a slot and a front desk smile exchanged on your way out. As your car pulls out from the drive, you glance once in the rearview mirror. Not to check who's watching, but to acknowledge the version of yourself you're leaving behind, tired from trying, always explaining, always waiting. They're not coming with you. You're already someone else now. Later, when you arrive home, your phone buzzes with a single text from your mom. Hope you got home safe. Maybe next time we plan something together? You don't reply. Not yet. Not out of cruelty, but because this time they can wait. You place your phone on the table and step outside. The sky is shifting from gold to blue, and for once, you don't feel like you're behind or outside or missing something. You feel centered, whole. You feel like someone who didn't just take back the seat at the table, but built their own table and sat down without needing permission. And as you close your eyes, breathing in the stillness, the soft breeze curls around your shoulders like a quiet affirmation. You were never too much. They were just too small. You spent so long trying to be invited. To the table, to the group chat, to the family trip, to the story where you belonged. And every time they forgot or overlooked or ran out of space, you told yourself to be understanding, to be the bigger person, to wait your turn. But you know now, your turn doesn't come by waiting. It comes by walking away from places that only see you as convenient when you're quiet. It comes by rewriting the script they gave you, the one that said you're fine on your own, that you don't need the same care, the same love, the same inclusion. It comes when you stop shrinking just to fit. Now you are no longer waiting to be asked. You are building your life with your own hands, your own rules, your own beautiful, expansive presence. And they can choose to meet you there. Or they can stay behind talking about the version of you they thought they knew. But you're already gone, already whole, already home. So tonight close your eyes, knowing that you didn't need revenge. You didn't need noise. You didn't need them to clap. You needed you, and you showed up. Some nights just lying still and breathing softly is enough to return home to yourself.